Hi folks, hi YouTubers, friends who are joining me. I'm coming to you today after quite a epic, interesting morning, and I want to share with you my own personal journey with depression and my own struggles in facing resistance. So I know that many of the videos I've shared already speak to um, this journey of love and beauty and transformation, but I haven't really gone super deep or shared with you my own struggles with depression. And recently in the news in the US, there were two famous people who committed suicide, and it shocked everyone. I mean, it was all over the news. Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade. So I know that many of you responded to this on social media and shared your own vision, and I felt called today to share with you, and first to say that these videos are healing me in a really deep, profound way. As I am sitting in front of the camera, I am facing myself and speaking to myself, and in a way sharing my deepest learnings and growth first with myself. I have to share with you, the last few days have been quite a challenge. I've been facing a lot of highs and lows, and particularly been triggered by things that have been coming up for me and happening um, in reference to making these videos. And that's the beauty and the wonderful thing about transformation, is that when we step into this space of complete unknown, all the old patterns, all the old believings and limitations become appear before our eyes, and we have the choice in each moment to step in to that energy, or to choose to actually um, see it, embrace it, but know that the lessons have been learned and there is no need to go into it. What is in the way is the way. What is in the way is the way. And so for many years, and I mentioned this in a previous video, I have been running away from my own resistance. And I, talking about depression, beginning there, I struggled and suffered with my own depression in my early 20s. I know what the deep, dark hole looks like, what it feels like, to be um, that you don't want to live, and that you don't want to continue, and that you want to die, because the pain and the sorrow is so much. Where does that come from, and why? Why do we struggle? Why do we go through this? And in my own personal experience, this is nothing, although I've studied psychology, this is in my own, I'm drawing up on my own personal experience here, is for me, my experience, my depression came as a result of resisting what was arising for me, my emotions, and being able to fully, completely express from the point of my heart my emotions and feelings in many situations in my life. I recognized that um, that the pain is so deep, and that when a person is in that space, it's very difficult to reach them. It's very difficult to have them understand. I was, like, in many ways, like these famous people. Not that I was famous, but on the outside everything appeared normal. I had success. I was a 4.0 student. I had multiple jobs while I was in university. I was doing everything, and to the outside world, to my family, my friends, I looked like everything was in control, and I was totally um, content. But I was completely numb. I was operating on overdrive, and I was using all of the stimuli around me to keep me going from facing this deep pain that was inside of me. And I did this for so many years. And one day, there was a 3-month period where I went into this very deep place and I started losing a lot of weight. I couldn't eat. It became really, really dark, really deep. And I didn't know what I could do. And there was a dear friend of mine who was a counselor, and one day I said, okay, like I can't do this anymore. And I reached out for help, and I called her and I said, look, I'm struggling and I'm having these thoughts, and can you help me? And she's like, oh my God, I had no idea that you're struggling so much. I didn't know this. Like, yes, we can get you help. And so I began my journey to healing. That was the moment I made a choice. And when I went to the counselor's office the next day, I made a commitment to myself to be honest, to be real, to tell the truth. And that began my journey that has led me to here. Now, to this present day, in this present moment, I have overcome and faced so much of my own pain, struggles, depression, using all the tools of self-help, self-development, psychology, meditation, yoga, all of the eating healthy, all of these tools have helped me to step into who I am today. So it's interesting that by stepping into this unknown and deciding to face my fears, that these deep, deep, deep patterns and believings that I thought personally I have faced become so clear and rise to the surface, and due to my awareness, I'm able to step back and see it. And this happened to me in the last few days. I could see my pattern, and the pattern goes like this. I am triggered, and I'm sure many of you out there can relate to this, triggered in some way by some stimuli outside of you. And in that triggering, in that remembering of an old feeling or emotion, of feeling bad, of feeling frustrated, of feeling overwhelmed, I step back into that energy. And instead of making the clear choice, like, okay, what's happening here? I see this pattern. I see what's showing up. What can I do about it? Do I need to fully step back in and feel that? Or can I see it, embrace it, and release it? So I step back in it, and then I feel it. And how the feeling looks is like someone who's depressed. Sad, crying, want to lay in bed, feel a sense of being tired, a complete resistance to what is showing up for me. Because I have spent my whole journey gaining tools and focusing externally, and of course doing inner work, but on a level still avoiding. As the resistance arises, being able to witness that and say, you know what, I'm not resisting this part of me anymore. I embrace this part of me. I embrace this darkness, because where there is darkness, there is light. The light and the dark exist together. They are not separate. And so as I embrace and say, I see you, and I know you're there, and I know you have something to teach me and share, and I no longer avoid this part of me, this old past, I integrate it and say, I am stepping into the new space, the new being, where I do not know how it feels. Because the reality is that we go back. We revert back to old patterns because it's what we know. It's what is known in this moment. It's what we feel, and it's what has been on repeat over and over and over again. It's like we are a mouse on a hamster wheel, or a hamster on a hamster wheel. And it takes will. It takes us making a choice to step out of that, to see it, to embrace it, and to say, okay, what action can I take? How can I move my energy? How can I embrace this, whether it's fear, pain, anger, and let it out through a process of healing and transformation so that I come back into my wholeness and my completeness that is always there. So that I access my creative channels, so I awaken my energy, so I wake up from the delusion and the thoughts, and I remember who I am. So, are you struggling with depression? Are you struggling to find your center, to remember who you are? Are you struggling with trauma? I mean, that's a whole nother video, is the trauma of things that have been deep down that start to come up, and we push down, we avoid, we medicate, we eat food, we drink alcohol, we do everything to avoid being present and in the presence with ourselves, to feel, to be, and to heal. So maybe you're struggling, and if you are struggling, I encourage you to reach out to someone, to call one of the helplines that are out there, to let someone know that you are struggling and you need help, and you need to be held accountable in that help. You need to feel supported, to feel the love. And if you are really struggling and you're like, I don't have any friends, I don't have any people I can call, I don't have anyone to reach out to, you can always reach out to me. I have been there. I know the ins and outs of this. I have been on the other side. I have seen my own growth and transformation. Folks, I've lived this stuff. I'm not here just preaching or talking glitter and lights. I am here to share my message and to reach those people who are needing tools, guidance, assistance, help, who want to step into the new and the unknown, who want to be fearless in their life. I am here, and I am on the journey just like you are. So I thank you, those of you who have been tuning in, for listening, for honoring me, and know that I'm going to continue to make these videos even when the resistance comes up. I'm going to face the resistance. That's the commitment I'm making to myself and the commitment that I'm making to you today. And so I ask you the question as I end this video, what is your commitment to yourself? How can you more fully show up in your life and be a force of creative wildness and love?